bring his ass to this ring? Give me a hell yeah!
Well, if you do bring it to the ring, you might want to bring an ambulance along with you. But injuries this week. Injuries.
All over the place.
People getting hurt.
Yeah.
I'm WB Ward.
And I'm Chip Douglas.
And we got another episode of SCI Squared Circle Insiders Wrestling, or whatever the hell we call this thing.
You got it.
Did I?
I think so.
I am so numb this morning. Not much sleep last night. The life of living life as a playboy, a young playboy.
I was say up out partying a little bit.
I don't know. I'd call it partying.
Painting the town red, I think is what they call it.
And I wake up this morning with eyes that are red where it should be white. But that's a whole nother ball of wax. Yeah. I don't know what to do about our predictions that we made last week, because some of them are not going to be correct just because of what's been going on.
And also, speaking of Night of Champions and predictions, I actually got some updated rumor news that I'll be sharing on the show.
I bet you. I'm not going to steal your thunder.
Okay.
But I bet you one of them is something I'm kind of suspecting.
Okay.
Because it only seems logical that they do what it is that I think I'm thinking about, that you think that you're thinking about talking about.
So you think you know what I am thinking.
I think.
But I think you are completely wrong in what I'm thinking.
No, because all the words I'm thinking of only have one syllable.
Good job.
Thank you very much. But considering, okay, first off, let's go ahead and talk about the well, no. I'm getting ready to do what I did last week and back myself up into a corner and forget about our little weekly feature here. You remember last week I forgot about our tweet.
Oh yeah, you did.
I did. I've been a bad little boy. So I don't want to do that again.
This is the staple of SCI Wrestling.
I know, really. So let's go ahead and fire up the countdown machine so we can do it. Large talk.
10, 9, 8, really Lurch?
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fly a duck. 0.
What time is it, kids?
Oh, it's the tweet of the week.
Oh, that just gets my juices going. That just rings a bell, doesn't it?
Well, hold on.
Inside joke there.
What? Where the hell did it go? They updated. Oh, okay. Here we go. They updated the Twitter app, and it's completely different. So I couldn't find it there for a moment.
I hate it when they do that.
I was like, because usually it's just one button, and there it is.
Yeah.
Now it's completely different. Oh well, here we go. Going back to the Hall of Fame of SCI Tweet of the Weeks, and this is too good to pass up. It's from our good friends at WB Creative Humor. I'm gonna reach out to them and have them on the show.
Hey, that would be awesome.
We talk about them enough. I'd like to get them on here and get their insight on some stuff. So the Tweet of the Week is, no, Brock Lesnar is not here. Speaking of SmackDown. In fact, he has no idea SmackDown's still on the air.
that would be about right. That, my friend, would be about right. But when was the last time Lesnar was on SmackDown? Do you know?
Actually, a couple weeks ago, I believe he was on SmackDown. They promoted that one appearance.
You know, now that you mention it, I do remember that.
Yep.
I do indeed. But that is correct, though. It is kind of rare he's on that program. I wonder why that is.
I have no idea.
I wonder if that may be something contractual, because he kind of considers that the B show or something.
It is.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's considered a B show.
In some ways, yes. But here as of late, I don't know that I would really agree with that.
Well, give it time.
I got to tell you, though, last week I was kind of lackadaisical of all the performances. This week I was a little bit happier with the way things were in general.
Well, and we're just going to jump right into it. But one thing that kind of jumped out to me was the one of the main events on Raw, and I believe they redid it on Superstars, and for the life of me, I had no idea why they did this, but that was the Seth Rollins Roman Reigns.
Yes.
But of course, it's made public now by WWE.com that Roman Reigns had to have emergency surgery on a incarcerated hernia, which I never knew a hernia could ever go to prison.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So surgery was done successfully, but he will not be competing tonight at Night of Champions.
No, as a matter of fact, the last I heard, he could be benched for as long as 6 weeks.
Really?
As long as 6 weeks, that is a possibility, because this hernia that he had, ironically, was not related to a match. But this was a hernia that he'd actually suffered a long time ago, which has just progressively gotten worse. And finally it flared up, and off to the hospital he goes. And doctors are sharpening their knives and getting ready to do the voodoo that they do so well.
Wow.
But this is considered to have been pretty major surgery for him. But he recovered nicely at last report that I heard. And I checked this before I started doing my pre-show production earlier this morning. And he is recovering. So there's a chance I could see that he might make some appearances, but we may not be seeing any action from him for quite a while.
Right.
Now, WWE has had some problems with talent enough. With you got Daniel Bryan, he's up for an injury. Now, Roman Reins, and these were the two top guys of their talent pool. So
Bad News Barrett.
Yeah.
He was getting a lot of steam before he got injured.
Yeah. Have you heard any word on him?
Rumble.
You think he'll be back in time for that?
Yeah.
How many pay-per-views is that away? Is that that's not the next pay-per-view, is it?
Like 3, 4 away. You got Night of Champions, Survivor Series, some other one, and the Royal Rumble.
Somebody's testicles are sweating. Somebody is really kind of getting worried, and they're chewing their fingernails wondering, what the hell are we going to do?
Yep.
They're really being put into a pretty rough spot here. Now, fortunately, they do have some talent available to them. If they will just reach out and use it, that's going to be the
NXT.
The big question mark. Oh, did you get the one you wanted?
Huh? Yeah.
Oh, okay. We now have stucco on our walls here in the studio. But and this kind of brings us around to this week's countdown, because the ramifications of all the matches is kind of interesting this week. Let's give that a check here.
Number 10.
Paige, the Divas champion, continued her winning ways on Raw and SmackDown, but that wasn't enough for the WWE Universe, as she dropped from 8th place from last week. If she loses tonight at Night of Champions, will she remain on the top 10 next week?
Number 9.
Although Seth Rollins lost to Roman Reins on Raw, which cost him a few notches on this week's countdown later, with Roman Reins out of the action for tonight's show, who will Seth Rollins face? Or will he face anyone?
Number 8.
Chris Jericho pulled off a big victory over Kane on Raw, and this is what made the WWE Universe move him up 2 positions from last week's countdown. But the question remains, how will he rank after tonight's clash with Randy Orton at Night of Champions?
Number 7.
I'm on top, just ain't even my peak.
Jey Uso may still be hobbled by his knee injury, but that hasn't prevented the WWE Tag Team Champions, the Usos, from performing at the top of their game as they return to the top 10 after a 1-week absence.
Number 6.
I hear voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me.
Randy Orton drops to number 6 due to in-ring inaction. However, the Viper will have a chance to unleash his venomous side tonight when he battles longtime rival Chris Jericho at Night of Champions.
Number 5.
The WWE Universe got a taste of what to expect at Night of Champions when John Cena took the fight to Brock Lesnar on Raw. However, the WWE Universe has spoken, and he is beginning to drop in the ratings, as this week he drops from 3rd place to the middle of the pack.
Number 4.
I'm here to show the world, I'm here to show the world.
The fans continue their support of Dolph Ziggler as he maintains the 4th position for the 2nd week in a row.
Number 3.
It's a shame for fate.
The United States champion Sheamus moves up to number 3 on the rankings after fighting his way to victories in tag team contests on both Raw and SmackDown.
Number 2.
Roman Reigns defeated Seth Rollins on Raw, but who, if anyone, will take the black-clad superstar's place in tonight's pay-per-view? As of this recording, Reigns is anticipated to be benched for about 6 weeks. And now, with this week's climb to the top of the chart,
Number 1.
after seeing John Cena brawl with Brock Lesnar on Raw, there is no doubt his rematch against the Beast Incarnate tonight will be a knockdown, drag-out fight. Still, the C-Nation leader will have trouble keeping the top spot on the rankings without first defeating the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. That's this week's SCI Top 10 PowerPoints.
I'm gonna be a champion.
Now, I'm going to be really interested to see how the WWE Universe votes next week with, not Seth Rollins, with Roman being out of the picture completely.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. And it kind of goes into what we were talking about with Seth Rollins, and you kind of mentioned it in the countdown itself about is Seth Rollins actually going to still perform? Dean Ambrose return?
Well, are you familiar with WrestleZone.com?
I'm familiar with him, yes.
Okay, Nick Paglino of that website reported that Ambrose, which was originally expected to return no later than tomorrow night for Raw, is beginning to anticipate whether or not he'll be at the pay-per-view tonight to do an angle with Rollins, or if they're just going to scrap the storyline for the night altogether.
I think tomorrow night would actually make more sense from a writing standpoint.
I don't know. They've got this big gaping hole in tonight's program now. They may not have a choice.
I mean, this pay-per-view was very lackluster from the beginning, but definitely without the Seth Rollins Reigns fight, it's even worse. And man, Tuesday after I watched Raw and I saw the Seth Rollins Roman Reigns match, it was a head scratcher. I'm like, why on earth would you just do your pay-per-view match a week before the pay-per-view?
That is a little unusual. I have to admit that was a little on the unusual side. Not unless they were just wanting to do the obvious of let's keep the fanning the flames here. Right.
Of course, the reason why is because, in fact, I think they knew that he was going to be doing surgery.
Do what?
I think they knew he was going to have surgery.
That's a possibility. I got to tell you though, that's not the feeling that I got from the press release. The feeling I got was that it was just like he had been experiencing pain, yes, but the feel I got from that was the pain finally got so bad he woke up and went, damn, I'm going to the hospital.
But so that goes to say my point. Why on earth would you give away one of your top matches for the pay-per-view on Monday Night Raw?
Now, on the other side of the coin, had he not gone to the hospital and decided to suck it up, as we manly men do, he actually could have done so much damage tonight that the match would have ended abruptly, and we might have lost Roman Reigns forever.
Right.
With all kinds of really negative implications on that. So I don't know. Maybe this bit about them creating the faux pas of having them actually do their pay-per-view match may have been fortuitous because we're not going to see it tonight.
Right.
So at least we got it out of the way. And I forget. How's your memory? Can you remind me how that match went? I did see it, believe it or not.
Reigns won.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's the reason why I was like as a head scratcher.
At least they can say
6 days away from your pay-per-view, and you're going to do one of your. Why not just have Brock Lesnar and John Cena fight on Raw?
Yeah. Well, didn't they?
Well, no, not in a match.
No, not in a match. No, that's true. And speaking of that, since you brought that up,
yep.
Did you notice the expressions on Cena's face during that? I'm starting to see a bit of a transformation here.
I mean, it's the same old faces I've always seen.
He is starting to present the facial expressions of the maniacal, anguished soul. All of the still shots I've seen of that fight, you can see the anger in his face. He's actually a very good performer, at least in that respect. So I'm seeing expressions that seem to be kind of pointing toward the dark side. I don't know if he's going to wind up becoming the Paul Heyman guy, as they've kind of opened that door for. I don't know if it's going to go to that direction, but I can see the ultimate turn beginning to happen.
Well, with the lack of baby faces now on the show, there's no way.
You know, it's almost like all of a sudden the writers of WWE Creative finally saw the first 3 episodes of Star Wars. Because they're starting to pull they're starting to pull not Luke Skywalker.
Anakin?
And they're starting to pull Anakin over to the dark side. And it's just about going to work. And next thing you know, John Cena is going to sound like he's having a bad case of asthma.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you're going to know they got the ripping off the storyline from him if it does go that far.
Right.
You know, one thing that was missing from this countdown, really surprised me. I thought we were going to see an entry for the first time from Gold and Stardust.
Me too.
I thought for sure they were going to be counted in. After tonight, depending on how the match comes out next week, that just very well could happen. But you and I both last week predicted Golden Stardust to win for tonight.
And I still think it's going to happen.
If it does happen that way, if they don't show up on next week's countdown, I'm going to start suspecting, okay, there's a fix here somewhere.
But were the Usos on it?
Pardon me?
Were the Usos on it?
Yeah, the Usos are there.
Okay, I didn't hear.
Yeah, which was kind of surprising because they were not on the countdown last week.
Right.
They were off of the countdown completely for 1 week. And that was in spite of their matches from this week because they've been wrestling underneath a handicap.
Right.
Which I'm kind of surprised they're still scheduled for tonight. Now they have to be scheduled because it got too many people out for injuries.
I think it's a play injury.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
sure storyline injury.
I am sure it is.
But it's going to help the case for Gold as a Stardust to win now.
We ought to come out with some kind of a guide on how to tell if it's a
legit
play injury
or
legit.
Yeah.
Now between Mr. Reins and gosh, my brain is not working today.
Who else?
Goatface.
Huh?
Goatface.
Daniel Bryan.
Thank you. Between Reigns and Bryan, it's pretty easy to figure that those are legit.
Right.
And of course, you brought up the bad news guy, Barrett.
Yep.
His is legit.
Yep.
But and you know, we have to point to Mr. Ambrose, who had a play injury. There's a play injury, so he can go off and make
film
a movie. Evidently, they have wrapped up production, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we saw him appear in tonight's pay-per-view.
I wouldn't be surprised either, but to me, tomorrow night would make more sense. Just because.
Last week, I would have agreed with that statement. This week, I do not.
All right. Well, last week would make no sense because at that point, we're expecting them and Roman Reigns.
I know, but tonight, it makes sense for him to make the appearance because Roman Reigns isn't there.
I'd say just scratch it and start over tomorrow.
I don't see how they can do that because they've only got,
anyways.
if you count their match, they've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 matches.
Well, it's only $9.99. So what do you expect?
That's true. That's true. Though there's a good fallback for them right there. Hell, it doesn't not cost you $50 anymore. It's only $10. So just take it back and suck it up and take it like a man.
But speaking of Night Champions, and I'm kind of backtrailing here to Brock Lesnar and John Cena.
Okay.
WrestlingRumors. I think it's .net.
You go. You go ahead and talk. I can hear you, but I have to go in the kitchen.
Go ahead. WrestlingRumors.net has came out with an article with the main event in the focus of this article.
Oh yeah.
And what they're looking at right now is the fact that Brock Lesnar is not scheduled to appear on any upcoming events. And now he was advertised to be on the October 21st SmackDown taping in Wichita, which is actually my birthday. That's actually kind of cool. But he's no longer listed in the written advertisements on the Arena website.
Chip is reaching puberty.
Almost. And so it goes to show that maybe possibly John Cena could win tonight.
Well, now let's see. Who's been predicting that? I think somebody I know.
Yeah. I'm still sticking with my prediction of Lesnar because once again, this website's called Wrestling Rumors. So I'm still sticking with my theory, even though this article makes a lot of sense. It's understandable where they get it from. Lesnar's still rumored to be the next feud be the Big Show. Mm-hmm. That's supposed to be the next plan, which has been done before. So I don't know why they're doing it again.
You're talking about Big Show and Lesnar?
Yeah.
I didn't think that he was going to be the next one. I was thinking it was going to be Ziggler.
No. I wouldn't do Ziggler. Not yet. But Big Show is supposed to be the next guy in line.
Okay.
It makes sense. Big Show is expendable. You can have him do 1-2 pay-per-views. In fact, I still stand by the fact that they should have Cena for one more pay-per-view against Lesnar, because the next pay-per-view is Hell in a Cell. Okay. Let him have Hell in a Cell.
Now, of all the predictions that we made last week, are there any predictions that you would change?
No.
Okay, I'm sticking by all of mine as well, because...
except for the Roman Reins, Seth Rollins.
That one, yeah, we kind of have to throw that one out.
Yeah.
Just because, well...
I guess you won that one since the actual match was on Raw, and Roman Reins won.
That's true. I'll take that victory. I'll take that any way I can. But no, we'll throw that out. We'll be fair, because it's just not going to happen. But my disappointment of the week would have to, and I never ever thought these words would ever pass my lips. My big disappointment this week was Mark Henry.
Oh my gosh! Thank you so much for bringing that up.
His performance was so bad when he was trying to do the Pledge of Allegiance. He was anything but rallying.
And that was the end of the show.
I know.
Why on earth
and it could be
Lesnar
the end of his
Cena
career.
Not the end of the show.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was Rusev. I was tempted to defect and become Russian. It was just like, is that America there? Gosh, if it is, we're really in trouble.
It was. I'm so sorry, I'm yawning. This segment makes sense.
I was yawning when he was performing.
Oh, I actually watched maybe 2 minutes of it and switched over to Monday Night Raw. I was like, this is so stupid.
This was almost
at the end of the show.
This was almost like the short-lived gimmick of that other bodybuilder who came out talking like a Baptist preacher.
Talking like a Baptist preacher?
Yeah. He used to be the valet for...
Brother Love?
No. This guy was not the valet, but more like a bodyguard for Dolph Ziggler when Dolph and AJ were mixed up with each other.
Big E?
Big E, yeah. You might recall that. It was for 2 weeks, whenever he came out into the ring, they were trying to give him some mic time, and he was trying to talk like I called it a Baptist preacher type delivery, where he was delivering this gospel... not a gospel message, but he was delivering it like a preacher in the South, taking these gasps in between his voice and speaking in a rhythmic cadence and stuff. And it was just like, really?
Is that when they were supposed to do like the new stable?
Yes.
All right. Which was very short-lived.
Yeah. If you blinked, you missed it.
Yeah.
It was just a stupid thing. But this is exactly what I thought of when I saw Mark Henry doing his bit of trying to rally everybody up to the American side on SmackDown. It was just so poorly executed. I think the idea, I'll give WWE credit on one point. I think the idea was great. I think the idea behind it was absolutely wonderful. I was just so disappointed in Henry's performance of it. And in the past, he has done some dynamite acting jobs. Oh,
yeah. Well, that promo with him and Cena.
Yes, I will never forget that. Yeah. I thought for sure that guy was gone.
Yeah.
I
thought that was it.
I was sold. And now this coming on the heels of that is just like, that's a major disappointment.
Absolutely.
Maybe he was just overconfident.
I don't know. I just have a problem with him putting it at the end of the show. That is my big problem. Put it at the end of the first hour or second.
Well, now
hour.
had it played the way it should have been played, I would have thought, end of the show would be fine, because bringing the people up and dropping the huge American flag would be a great note to end on. But who could have told that performance would have been so bad? At best, it was low card quality.
Right. But you're building a pay-per-view around Cena Lesnar, and so the last thing people see is a lousy Mark Henry.
No, that's true.
With a bad promo.
But really, how could they have possibly seen that it was going to suck that bad? I mean, that thing sucked so bad.
Just the idea.
The noise that was going on with it, I had to get up 3 or 4 times to check and see if my vacuum cleaner had turned on.
Right.
Because it was sucking really bad. My carpets are clean, though.
Good thing.
And that's about the only thing. But man, that was just a huge disappointment for this week. Huge disappointment.
Now, of course, we talked about last week, but another big disappointment is the lack of Bray Wyatt. Once again, this pay-per-view is not going to feature Bray Wyatt. But there's still a lot of rumors of Dolph Ziggler being his...
That's who I was thinking about.
Who?
When I said Dolph Ziggler and...
you think of Bray Wyatt?
Yeah, that's who
okay.
I knew Ziggler was rumored to be feuding with somebody, and you're right, it was Bray Wyatt.
And so that's what's going on right now. Looks like that's going to happen here soon, probably right after this pay-per-view. Doesn't look like The Miz is going to beat Ziggler at this pay-per-view.
No.
So we're going to... I'm actually excited to see that feud. Ziggler's hot. I mean, he has been. They're just now actually using him. You know,
they had a setup in one match with Miz where his stunt double was holding somebody, I forget who it was he was holding. And Miz went off to hit the guy in the face. The guy ducks and he hits a stunt double instead.
Right.
I'm kind of thinking probably what we're going to see is that same kind of thing happening tonight, but hopefully Mizdow is going to turn on the Miz as a result of that. And hopefully they'll start giving him a push that he deserves, because I still think he's a great talent, as long as they don't bring him back using the Handel's Messiah theme to bring him back out into the arena again. But I think he would show just a tremendous star quality if they would just push him in the right way.
Yeah, I mean he's fallen into the creative comedy role, kind of where Santino Marella was.
I saw Santino on Divas last Sunday night.
Really?
It was just a small, brief cameo appearance, but as the Divas were walking backstage, Santino Marella was involved in some kind of photo shoot. And it was just, "Hi, Santino," and he repeated back, "Hi," and asked her if her sweater was painted on. But no, he apparently is still active with the company, still employed with the company and all. He's not dismissed, but he's just not wrestling anymore.
Well, actually, there's it's funny that we brought him up, but WrestlingInc.com actually posted an article about how Santino is actually planning a comeback to WWE.
Okay, I hope so.
If
he's well enough.
Yep.
Because I mean, I would not wish anybody at all to be in a position where they are running a risk of being injured further, and God knows that's a risk enough for just an average wrestler.
Right.
So, I mean, I hope he's recovered strong enough where he could make a comeback, because I thought he was a great performer, good wrestler, and he goes over with the fans.
Oh, I saw on WB Network they had the top 10 general managers, and he was doing like the Sherlock Holmes investigation to find out who the anonymous GM was.
I remember that. I remember
and that
that
was great. That was terrific.
And remember when he was trying to teach manners to the guy from Britain,
Wade Barrett?
No, not Wade Barrett. Regal,
Yeah,
Steven Regal. They were trying to teach table manners
to
Steven Regal. That was a good bit. And being funny is one thing, but being funny right is a completely different thing, because being funny is pretty serious
funny
business.
Funny funny queer.
Yeah. No, he's funny, haha, and he's good at it. And that's difficult to achieve.
So tonight on Raw.
Raw?
On Raw. Tomorrow night on Raw. So tonight we got Night of Champions. Tomorrow night on Raw. Big rumors, some kind of Sting announcement coming.
Sting!
And also 4 of the top NXT superstars are going to be in the arena. I'm talking...
with everybody out being injured, I hope they will jump in.
Dude, these are some great talents. Sami Zayn, Adrian Neville, Prince Devitt, and I believe Kevin Steen not Kevin Steen. I forgot the other one. Tyler Breeze. All of them great talents, supposed to be at Raw tomorrow night.
Okay. We'll look forward to that. Woo-hoo. Looking forward to the pay-per-view as it stands, with as many healthy people as we can possibly round up to be on the show this evening. Join us tonight for the big pay-per-view for Night of Champions, and then back next week once again inside of a computer near you for another episode of this show we call SCI.